You take the good, you take the bad. But behind the laughter, the real lives of the Facts of Life cast were far more complicated than anyone expected. One became one of the most recognizable faces of the 80s. One quietly walked away from Hollywood altogether. One faced battles that nearly derailed her life. And one story still shocks longtime fans to this day. For 9 seasons, Blair, Joe, Tootie, and Natalie felt like family to millions of viewers. But once the cameras stopped rolling at Eastland, everything changed. Today, we're taking a deep dive into what really happened to the stars of the Facts of Life, then and now. Let's start with the one whose life turned out nothing like her character. Number 1. Charlotte Rae, Mrs. Edna Garrett. If the Facts of Life had a beating heart, it was Charlotte Rae. She played Edna Garrett, the endlessly patient, fiercely loving housemother at Eastland. And she did it with a warmth that radiated right through the television screen. When we first met Mrs. Garrett, she had just arrived from the Drummond household over on Different Strokes, and within moments, it was clear she was something special. Here was a woman who didn't talk down to young people. She listened to them, challenged them, and loved them unconditionally. Charlotte Rae was born Charlotte Rae Lubotsky on April 22, 1926, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Long before she became a household name through television, she built a formidable career on Broadway. She appeared in productions including Lil Abner and Pickwick, and was considered a respected theatrical talent throughout the 1950s and 1960s. Her path to television was a natural evolution of her stage presence, and she landed guest appearances on numerous shows before finding her signature role. Her time on The Facts of Life spanned from the pilot episode through season 7, and during those years, she became one of the most recognizable faces on American television. Mrs. Garrett was equal parts comic timing and genuine emotional depth, a rare combination that Rae executed brilliantly. She was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series, recognition that was long overdue for a performer of her caliber. When Rae chose to leave the show in 1986, the transition was handled gracefully. Her character departed Eastland to open a gourmet catering business, and the show brought in Cloris Leachman to fill the maternal role, a tall order by anyone's measure. But Charlotte Rae left on her own terms, which speaks to the confidence she carried throughout her career. In the years that followed, she continued to work in television and film, appearing in a wide range of projects and never truly stepping away from her craft. On the personal front, she was married to composer John Strauss, with whom she had 2 sons. The couple later divorced. In 2015, Rae published her memoir, The Facts of My Life, in which she opened up about deeply personal experiences, including her first husband's struggles with his sexuality and her own journey through those revelations. It was a candid, courageous book that showed the same honesty she had always brought to her performances. Tragically, Charlotte Rae was diagnosed with bone cancer in 2017. She handled the news with remarkable grace, continuing to connect with fans and celebrate the legacy of The Facts of Life until her final days. She passed away on August 5, 2018, at the age of 92 at her home in Los Angeles. The outpouring of love from castmates, fans, and the entertainment community was immense. Her legacy as Mrs. Garrett, as a woman who made every young person feel seen and valued, is one that television will carry forever. Bono number 2, Lisa Whelchel, Blair Warner. If you watched The Facts of Life, you knew Blair Warner. Rich, glamorous, devastatingly pretty, and absolutely convinced of her own superiority. Blair was the character you were supposed to roll your eyes at, yet somehow couldn't help rooting for. And the reason Blair worked so brilliantly was Lisa Whelchel, who managed to make a potentially unlikable character into someone genuinely lovable. Lisa Whelchel was born on May 29, 1963, in Littlefield, Texas, and she came to The Facts of Life already carrying some star power. Before joining the cast, she had been a Mouseketeer on the Mickey Mouse Club, a credit that speaks to just how early her talent was recognized. She was only 16 years old when she stepped into Blair's designer shoes, and she wore them confidently for all 9 seasons of the show. Blair Warner was Eastland's Queen Bee, a Chanel-scented socialite who viewed the world as her personal runway. But the writing and Welch's performance gave Blair genuine depth. Over the seasons, audiences watched her wrestle with the pressures of her privileged upbringing, the complexity of her friendships, and the slow, humbling realization that money and beauty don't solve everything. Some of Blair's most memorable moments came when the writers stripped away her polish and let her simply be human. One of the most talked about moments in Welch's career during the show's run was her decision not to appear in a 1983 episode that dealt with a birth control storyline. As a devout Christian, she felt the episode conflicted with her personal beliefs, and she stood by that decision publicly. It was a bold move in the middle of a hit television run, and it sparked genuine conversation about faith and artistic boundaries, a conversation that continued to follow her for years. After The Facts of Life wrapped in 1988, Welchel transitioned away from acting more than many of her co-stars did. She focused on her family and her Christian faith, authoring several books on parenting and spirituality that found real audiences among readers who shared her values. Her writing career was a genuine creative pursuit, not just a celebrity side project. She married Steve Cobble, a pastor, in 1988. Together, they had 3 children. And the couple eventually divorced in 2012 after more than 2 decades of marriage. That same year, Welchel appeared on the reality competition Survivor Philippines, which introduced her to an entirely new generation of viewers. She performed remarkably well on the show, finishing as the runner-up and demonstrating a toughness that surprised anyone who still pictured her as Eastland's pampered princess. Today, Lisa Welchel remains active in public life, connecting with fans through speaking engagements and social media. She has participated in the Facts of Life reunion events with great enthusiasm and continues to reflect warmly on the show's impact. At over 60 years old, she carries herself with the kind of settled confidence that only real life, not a TV script, can provide. Number 3. Kim Fields, Dorothy Tootie Ramsey. If there's one cast member who embodied pure, boundless joy in every single scene, it was Kim Fields as Tootie Ramsey. From her very first appearance, rolling through the halls of Eastland on a pair of roller skates, Tootie was the kind of character who lit up a room. Enthusiastic, sharp, and brimming with personality, she became an instant fan favorite. And Kim Fields made sure that love was well earned. Kim Fields was born on May 12, 1969, in New York City. She was just 10 years old when she joined the cast of The Facts of Life, and making her the youngest principal cast member and one of the youngest recurring actors in primetime television at the time. For a child that young, the demands of a network sitcom could be overwhelming. But Fields handled it with a professionalism that belied her age entirely. Growing up on television is something very few people fully understand. And Fields has spoken in interviews about the unique challenges of having her childhood play out in front of a national audience. But she has also consistently credited the experience with shaping her work ethic and her deep love of storytelling. Mrs. Garrett's influence, both on screen and off, embodied by the real Charlotte Ray's warmth, helped create an environment where the younger cast members felt genuinely supported. Throughout the show's run, Tootie evolved from a wide-eyed, gossip-loving kid into a thoughtful young woman with real artistic ambitions. That character growth mirrored Fields' own coming of age, and the authenticity of that parallel gave some of her later performances a moving quality that the earlier seasons couldn't have predicted. After The Facts of Life, Fields demonstrated that her career was far from a one-note story. She transitioned into directing, becoming one of the few black women working consistently behind the camera in Hollywood television. She directed numerous episodes of popular series and built a reputation as a skilled, collaborative filmmaker. Her work behind the camera is a legacy that often goes unacknowledged in conversations about her career, but it is every bit as impressive as her on-screen accomplishments. On the personal front, Fields was previously married to Jonathan Franklin. She later married Christopher Morgan in 2007, and the couple has 2 children together. In 2016, she joined the cast of The Real Housewives of Atlanta for a season, which introduced her to yet another massive audience. And the experience was mixed. Fields was candid about finding the format less fulfilling than she had hoped, but it kept her in the public conversation and showed she was willing to take creative risks. Today, Kim Fields is in her mid-50s and remains one of the most recognizable voices from the Facts of Life era. She speaks frequently about the importance of representation and mentorship in Hollywood and continues to direct and produce. Her journey from roller skating schoolgirl to seasoned filmmaker is one of the most satisfying arcs in this entire cast story. Number 4. Mindy Cohn. Natalie Green. Ask any devoted fan of the Facts of Life who made them laugh the hardest, and a significant number will say Natalie Green, and by extension, Mindy Cohn. Natalie was the wit of the group, the girl who used humor as both a shield and a lantern, and Cohn played her with such effortless comedic instinct that the character became the soul of the ensemble in ways that weren't always immediately obvious. Mindy Cohn was born on May 20th, 1966 in Los Angeles, California. Unlike some of her castmates who came to the show with prior acting experience, Cohn was discovered in a somewhat unconventional way. She was a student at the Westlake School for Girls when producer Norman Lear spotted her and saw something genuinely magnetic in her personality. That authenticity translated directly to the screen, and Natalie's warmth and self-assurance felt real because, in many ways, they were. Over 9 seasons, Natalie tackled some of the show's most important storylines. She was one of the first characters in a family sitcom to openly and positively address body image. Natalie wasn't a character who existed despite her appearance, but one who was confident and appealing in a way that defied the narrow standards television usually applied to young women. That was quietly revolutionary, and Cohn carried it without fanfare or self-consciousness. Her comedic chemistry with Lisa Whelchel and Nancy McKeon was extraordinary. The three of them could find the humor in almost any situation without ever undercutting the emotional stakes. Some of Cohn's finest work came in episodes that required her to toggle between big laughs and genuine vulnerability, and she never dropped a beat. After the show ended, Cohn stepped back from acting in a significant way. She focused on her personal life and remained selective about projects, appearing here and there but never chasing the spotlight aggressively. For a period, she was less publicly visible than her co-stars, which led fans to occasionally wonder how she was doing. In more recent years, Cohn has been refreshingly open about her personal journey. She publicly discussed her experience supporting a close family member through illness and reflected on how that shaped her priorities. She is known to be a private person who values genuine connection over celebrity maintenance, and there is something deeply admirable about the way she has navigated life on her own terms. She remains connected to her Facts of Life family and has participated in reunion conversations and special projects. At nearly 60 years old, Mindy Cohn carries herself with the same grounded, self-possessed energy that made Natalie Green such a standout character. Proof that the best performances come from people who actually know themselves. Number 5. Nancy McKeon. Joe Polniacek. When Joe Polniacek roared into Eastland on her motorcycle in Season 2, everything changed. The show had found its missing piece, a working-class girl from the Bronx who challenged Blair at every turn and brought a raw, unfiltered energy that crackled on screen. Nancy McKeon made Joe one of the most compelling characters on 1980s television, and the Blair-Joe dynamic became the engine that drove the show for years. Nancy McKeon was born on April 4, 1966, in Westbury, New York, and she came to the role of Joe with solid child acting experience already under her belt. Still, nothing in her earlier career fully previewed what she would do with Joe Polniacek. She inhabited the character completely. The leather jacket, the Queen's accent, with the defensive pride of someone who'd had to fight for everything she had. Joe was a character who could have easily been a caricature, and McKeon refused to let that happen. Her chemistry with Lisa Whelchel is the stuff of television legend. Blair and Joe bickered constantly, challenged each other endlessly, and ultimately became each other's most loyal allies, a dynamic that felt genuinely earned rather than scripted. The two actresses were also close friends in real life, which gave their on-screen relationship a texture and ease that audiences could feel without being able to name it. McKeon's performance also navigated some of the show's most serious subject matter. Joe's storylines often explored class tension, ambition, and the complicated pride of someone determined to prove themselves in spaces that weren't designed for people like her. These were themes the show took seriously, and McKeon matched that seriousness every time. After The Facts of Life, Nancy McKeon continued to work steadily in television. She starred in the police drama The Division on Lifetime, which ran from 2001 to 2004, earning critical appreciation for her work as a lead. The show demonstrated that her dramatic range extended well beyond the comedic rhythms of Eastland, and viewers who had grown up watching Jo were glad to see her carrying a primetime drama. On the personal front, McKeon married Mark Andraka in 2003, and the couple has 2 daughters together. She has spoken warmly about prioritizing her family as her children grew up, scaling back her career commitments in a deliberate and thoughtful way. Her choices reflect someone who arrived at a clear sense of what matters most to her, a quality Joe Polniacek might have appreciated. In recent years, McKeon has kept a relatively low profile but remains beloved by fans of the show. When The Facts of Life cast reunites, as they have for various anniversary occasions, McKeon is always part of the warmth, and the connection between her and her co-stars is visibly genuine. Her journey from motorcycle riding rebel to devoted mother is, in its own way, exactly the kind of character arc the show always celebrated. Number 6. Mackenzie Astin, Andy Moffat. As The Facts of Life entered its later seasons, the producers looked to expand the core dynamic and brought in a young actor who would become a beloved part of the show's final chapter. Mackenzie Astin joined the cast in Season 7, playing Andy Moffat, an orphaned boy taken under the wing of the Edna's Edibles gang. He was young, charming, and brought a fresh burst of energy to a show navigating the challenge of staying relevant after nearly a decade on air. Mackenzie Astin was born on May 12, 1973, in Los Angeles, California, and he comes from one of Hollywood's most storied families. His father is John Astin, best known as Gomez Addams from the Addams Family, and his mother is Patty Duke, the Oscar-winning actress who struggled publicly and courageously with bipolar disorder before her passing in 2016. Growing up in that environment gave Mackenzie a deep understanding of the entertainment world, and no doubt, the complex emotional landscape that comes with it. He was just 13 when he joined The Facts of Life, and his youth gave the character of Andy a genuine freshness. The older girls treated him like a little brother, and the dynamic created some of the show's most heartfelt moments in its closing seasons. It was clear even then that Astin had real acting instincts, a quality that could easily have been overshadowed by his famous surname but wasn't. After The Facts of Life, Mackenzie Astin continued to build a solid acting career. He appeared in the 1998 film The Last Days of Disco, directed by Whit Stillman, and earned genuine praise for his performance. He also appeared in Iron Will, the 1994 adventure film, and numerous television productions over the years. His career has been consistent and respected, if not always splashy. The kind of working actor's career that sustains itself on genuine craft. On the personal side, he has been largely private. He has spoken about the profound impact of his mother Patty Duke's life and legacy, and the grief of losing her was something he carried publicly with quiet dignity. His parents' complicated histories gave him a rich emotional reservoir to draw from as an actor, and he has spoken thoughtfully about how those experiences shaped him. Today, Mackenzie Astin is in his early 50s and remains connected to the entertainment world. His journey from young Andy Moffat to a seasoned, thoughtful artist is a testament to what happens when a talented kid grows into his craft with patience and intention. Number 7. Cloris Leachman, Beverly Ann Stickle. When Charlotte Rae departed The Facts of Life in 1986, the producers faced an almost impossible task, finding someone who could step into the warm, irreplaceable space left by Mrs. Garrett. The woman they chose was Cloris Leachman, one of the most decorated actresses in the history of American entertainment, and her arrival as Beverly Ann Stickle, Mrs. Garrett's sister, gave the show a completely different but equally compelling energy for its final 2 seasons. Cloris Leachman was born on April 30th, 1926, in Des Moines, Iowa. Remarkably, the same birth year as Charlotte Rae, though the two women couldn't have been more different in their approach to comedy. Where Rae brought tenderness and warmth, Leachman brought a crackling, improvisational energy that kept everyone on their toes. She was already a legend when she joined The Facts of Life, having won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for The Last Picture Show in 1972 and earned multiple Emmy Awards for her work on The Mary Tyler Moore Show and its spin-off, Phyllis. Her transition into the show as Beverly Ann required viewers to adjust, and not everyone came along immediately. The attachment to Mrs. Garrett was simply that strong. But Leachman gave the role her full commitment and created a character distinct enough to carve her own space in the show's legacy. Beverly Ann was eccentric, spirited, and unpredictable in the best possible ways, and those final 2 seasons have their own distinctive charm. After The Facts of Life, Leachman continued working at an extraordinary pace. She appeared in Mel Brooks's films, including Young Frankenstein and History of the World, Part 1, and remained a fixture in both comedic and dramatic television. Incredibly, she became the oldest performer to win a Dancing with the Stars competition slot, appearing on the show in 2011 at the age of 84 and earning widespread admiration for her fearlessness. Cloris Leachman passed away on January 26, 2021, at the age of 94, at her home in Encinitas, California. Her death marked the loss of a genuine giant of American performance, a woman who worked professionally for nearly 7 decades and never seemed to lose her appetite for the next role. The entertainment world mourned deeply, and her Facts of Life family was among those who spoke of her with profound affection. Her legacy is enormous, her body of work extraordinary, and her spirit utterly irreplaceable. From the rolling hallways of Eastland School to the warmth of Edna's Edibles, On The Facts of Life was never just a sitcom, it was a conversation about growing up, about friendship, about the kind of love that forms between people who didn't choose each other but somehow became family anyway. And the cast who brought that story to life did so with a dedication and genuine humanity that holds up across every passing decade. Charlotte Rae gave us a portrait of grace and courage that extended far beyond any role she ever played. Lilisa Welchel showed us that reinvention is always possible, no matter how firmly a character defines you. Kim Fields built a career behind the camera that rivals anything she accomplished in front of it. Mindy Cohn reminded us that authenticity is the most enduring form of talent. Nancy McKeon proved that class and substance always outlast the spotlight. Mackenzie Aston grew into a thoughtful artist in the long shadow of an extraordinary family. And Cloris Leachman, the incomparable Cloris Leachman, gave us nearly a century of performances that will simply never be replicated. Their stories are messy and beautiful and human in all the ways that matter. And that, in the end, is the real fact of life. None of us arrive where we expected, and the journey is almost always richer for it. If this trip down memory lane brought back some feelings, hit that like button and drop your favorite Facts of Life memory in the comments below. We read every single one. Subscribe for more deep dives into the shows and films that shaped us, and share this with someone who grew up watching these incredible women every week. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time.